Are you planning on visiting Sicily and want to know how to make the best of your vacation there? First of all, great choice. Sicily is the jewel of the Mediterranean. I grew up here and I had a chance to experience this magnificent island again as a tourist. We have now distilled the essence of this beautiful corner of the world in the ultimate itinerary. And we want to share it with you, hoping to have you fall in love with Sicily like countless other people have before. Here's an overview of our journey. We will start in Catania, the main city and street food capital of the East. Then we will make our way to Taormina, where we will admire what arguably is the most spectacular view of the whole island and soak in pure beauty. We will then make our way to Mount Etna, the highest active volcano in Europe, before heading to Syracuse, a city whose history is woven in myths. We will then move on to Noto, the golden baroque capital of Sicily, and use it as a base for a day trip to Marzamemi, a picturesque fisherman village worth of a movie set. We will then head to Modica, a town with one-of-a-kind chocolate and beauty, the perfect base to also explore nearby Scicli. We will then make our way directly to Catania and fly out with a luggage full of happy memories.
Before we jump right straight into the itinerary, there are a couple important things to know. The first one is transportation. The best way to get around in Sicily is undoubtedly by car, but with this itinerary you can also use public transport. We just need to make some adjustments later on. When it comes to the best time to visit, July and August are the hottest month and highest season, but it's actually too hot and everything is more expensive and crowded, so we suggest visiting in spring or September when most of the crowds are gone and you will enjoy the island more without getting too hot. When it comes to driving and safety, Sicily is very safe, but there are a few things that you need to keep in mind, especially when driving around Catania, because people drive very aggressively. We made a whole video about driving in Sicily and also one about safety in Sicily, so feel free to check them out after the itinerary to better prepare for your trip. Now let's jump straight into the itinerary.
We will start with Catania, the beating heart of Eastern Sicily. Even if it's the biggest city on this side of the island, you can easily visit it in one day or two. Make sure you have a meal at the iconic fish market, visit the beautiful Cathedral of Sant'Agata, the Teatro Massimo Bellini, and definitely try pastry and arancini at Caffè Savia, arguably some of the best arancini in the whole island. It's also right in front of Catania's main public garden, so you can enjoy it in this beautiful setting. Make sure you set aside a few hours to visit the nearby towns of Aci Trezza and Acicastello. If you go there towards sunset time, you will be able to enjoy views of the castle and the Cyclops Islands even better. For dinner, you can visit one of the many trattorias and try a pasta alla norma, or if you're daring, try a typical Catania horse meat sandwich in Via Plebiscito. You can close your time with a nice stroll around the Orsino Castle and a drink in the iconic Via Gesira. For day 2, we're heading north to Taormina, by many considered the most beautiful place in Sicily and arguably one of the prettiest towns in the whole of Italy. Make sure you don't miss the views and atmosphere of Piazza 25th April, Piazza 25 Aprile, the delicious granita at the iconic Bambar, and get lost in the picturesque, colorful small streets while making your way to the Villa Comunale, enjoying breathtaking views over the ocean and Mount Etna. Last, but certainly not least, Taormina's main attraction, the Greek theater. You will be mind blown by what many consider the best view of the whole island.
There are a few ways to go about it. You can go on a day trip from Catania to Taormina, because the bus is just 1 hour and the drive is very easy. Or you could decide to spend an extra day in Taormina. We recommend doing that if you want to take more your time there and if you want to visit also the nearby Isola Bella and the city of Castermola.
On the third day, you could visit Mount Etna. It's the highest volcano in Europe, but you can drive most of the way to reach Rifugio Sapienza.
Here, if you don't have a car, don't worry, you can book a tour that can pick you up in Catania and take you to Rifugio Sapienza, or you can get a public bus that takes you from Catania to Rifugio Sapienza. There are a few every day, so make sure you plan ahead.
Here you can see some of the craters yourself, but if you want, you can pick from plenty of other activities, like taking a cable car, visit the highest craters with a guide, drive a quad, or take a 4x4 bus to explore the highest part of the volcano without having to walk for hours. Some activities might not be available depending on weather and the volcano's conditions. If you didn't bring any gear, don't worry. Shoes, jackets, everything you need is available for hire or included in the tours. You can hire a quad for €100, and there's a guided tour on quad that will take you to the west side of the volcano, where you also can explore some caves and some forest. If rather than going west you want to go higher in altitude, you can either go up yourself to 2,500 meters, which will take you 1.5 hours to 2 hours depending on your fitness level, or you can take a shortcut and use the cable car that will take you there in about 20 minutes. Once you reach that height you can still hike around a bit, but there's a limit on how high you can go without a guide. That's why we decided to spend another €50 each and hire a guide that took us on a 5 hours hike around the volcano. And throughout the excursion, the volcanological guide was able to explain to us a lot about the geography, the history, and the geology of the volcano. So we totally recommend that. Another option to go higher up without having to hike is to get a 4x4 bus. This costs around €30 per person and will take you on a little tour of 2 to 3 hours. The guided tours include the equipment like helmet, jackets, and boots. If you're not too tired after Mount Etna, you can drive to Siracusa. It's only 1.5 hours drive.
If you're not driving and want to get from Etna to Siracusa, you might have to do a stopover in Catania. So if you finish on Etna and you're a bit tired and maybe it's already afternoon, you might want to spend an extra night in Catania and then take a train or a bus directly to Siracusa. There are many that connect these two cities, so that shouldn't be a problem at all.
And this will be our base for the next few days. Here you can start from Modica and head straight to the market, enjoying the beautiful smells, colors, and the delicious street food. But make sure you leave some room for this legendary sandwich prepared at Caseificio Borderi. From the market you can easily reach all of Ortigia main sites, starting from the Apollo Temple, the Fountain of Diana, and the Syracuse Cathedral, which is built around an ancient Greek temple. This place has been a worship site for several religions for over 2,000 years. You can also walk up the city walls and visit Castello Maniace. In Ortigia, make sure you get lost in the beautifully decorated tiny streets. On the next day, you can choose to spend a half day to visit the ancient ruins of Syracuse, including the Dionysus Cave, a cave that the tyrant used to secretly listen to people to know if they were gossiping about him. Then you can head for a relaxing afternoon at the beach of Fontane Bianche or other beaches like San Lorenzo or Calamosche. Time to say goodbye to Siracusa and head to the golden city of Noto, the baroque capital of Sicily. All the beautiful churches and baroque palaces of Noto are concentrated in the small city center, so you can easily visit it in a few hours. You can even add a stop at the iconic Caffè Sicilia featured on Chef's Table. You can then head down to Marzamemi, a tiny colorful fisherman village where you can try one of the best ice cream in the whole of Sicily at Don Pepino, as well as buying some of the best fish produce of the whole island at Campisi Conserve. If you have some extra time, just 20 minutes drive away from Marzamemi, you can find the Isola delle Correnti. Its name means Island of the Currents. It's the southernmost point of Sicily, and to reach it you can easily walk across depending on the tide. There are 2 different sea currents meeting on this island, so if you're into snorkeling, this is a great place to admire some beautiful marine life.
This is the part of the island where transportation gets a little bit tricky. You can get from Siracusa to Noto just fine, and from Noto to Marzamemi as well. There are daily buses. If you want to visit some beautiful remote beaches, you will definitely need a car. And when it comes from connection to our next destination, which is Modica, from Noto there are just a few buses, and from Syracuse there are a few trains that don't run on Sunday, so make sure you plan ahead as well, because this part of the island is not as well connected as the part between Catania and Syracuse.
Time to head a little bit more south to the Hyblean Hills, where you can find Modica and Scicli. You could use either as a base to explore the area. These are 2 beautiful small towns that are in what is known as the Noto Valley, part of Sicily that was completely destroyed by an earthquake in 1693 and fully rebuilt following the Baroque architecture of the time. In Modica, you'll be able to visit the beautiful San Giorgio Cathedral, get a nice aperitivo in the lush gardens just a few steps away from the church, try the iconic cremolata at Cafe Adamo for breakfast, and the infamous Modica chocolate, prepared following recipes that are several hundreds years old. Because of its cold preparation process, the chocolate maintains a lot of healthy flavonoids and antioxidants, so you can eat it without feeling guilty, and it's actually healthy. It comes in different unique tastes like sea salt, chili, ginger, jasmine. Modica is also famous for its scacce, a street food that is said to have driven McDonald's out of business in town, and that you can enjoy while gazing at this beautiful town from one of its iconic viewpoints. Scicli, just like Noto, has a beautiful baroque city center that is easy to walk around in. It's also a better place to spend an evening compared to Modica, as it has way more to offer in terms of bars and nightlife. If you visit, make sure you try the pizza at Busacca. It's arguably one of the best pizza of this entire province, and if you book a table outside, you'll eat in a beautiful setting too. If you have more time in your itinerary, you could obviously fit in more beach days. You can go canyoneering in the Pantalica Natural Reserve, birdwatching and hiking in the Vendicari Natural Reserve, which also has one of the most beautiful and clean beaches of the island. Remember, we have a video for each one of these destinations on our Sicily playlist, so feel free to check it out on our channel. And if you enjoy this content, subscribe to see more like this coming.